This is not like flicking on a light switch.
President Joe Biden urging Americans to be patient now that the Colonial Pipeline has restarted operations after hackers in Russia forced it shut down late last week.
This is a whole of government response to get more fuel more quickly to where it's needed and to limit the pain being felt by American customers.
He said he expects gasoline supplies to begin returning to normal this weekend as the massive 5,500-mile pipeline gradually resumes full operations. The shutdown caused a run at the pumps this week, squeezing supplies and sending prices higher.
Certainly part of what we've seen has been impacted by short-term supply concerns. Although I want to emphasize, if you see price gouging going on, you should notify your state attorney general. There is no tolerance for that.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg tells Spectrum News a temporary Jones Act waiver has been granted, easing restrictions on tanker ships. That will allow additional gas and jet fuel to be transported from the Gulf to the East Coast.
How vulnerable do you think the energy industry's infrastructure is to cyber attacks? I mean, this shut down 45% of the eastern seaboard's gas supply.
A lot of Americans, this has been a wake-up call, and it demonstrates how important these kinds of infrastructure are and how vulnerable they can be.
The president signed an executive order to strengthen cybersecurity defenses, but lawmakers in both parties say it's not enough.
The Biden administration needs to show up and start working with companies to figure out who's doing this and hold them accountable.
And the fact is, we don't even have a requirement at this point that those companies that are affected report in a near immediate term to some public-private entity that could actually respond.
Bloomberg News reports the Colonial Pipeline paid a ransom of almost $5 million to the hackers. The White House said it had advised against any such payments.
It continues to be the position of the federal government, the FBI, that it is not in the interests of the private sector for companies to pay ransom because it incentivizes these actions.
An audit of the Colonial Pipeline conducted 3 years ago found glaring deficiencies. The firm that conducted the audit concluded that an 8th grader could have hacked into the system. In Washington, Samantha-Jo, Spectrum News.